Welcome back, boys and girls. This is the NAO show. I am your host, The Prince, and I am also co-host by Marky Mark, the co-founder and CEO of Marky Mark Matchup of the Week. We'll get into that later. But first, Marky Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to have you back.
Thanks for Goofy Jay-Z kicking butt and wearing
Yeah,
pants. It was a win-win.
yeah. It was a fun show, but glad to have you back. All is forgiven. We had our little dust up, but we got it all worked out now. So the
Something about
band's
me still not getting paid, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it.
that's all right. The
I'll
band's back.
do the show anyways. My two fans really miss me.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let's start out with the scores as we normally do. No trades this week.
Thank God.
So
Last time we had trades, we only talked for about 37 minutes on an hour show, so that's
yeah,
fine.
what we went an hour and a half on that one. That was a fun one. Yeah, we couldn't. Yeah, we're still reeling from that. We can't have any trades anyway. We
Yeah.
wouldn't know what the heck to do. So, but maybe it'll pick up here. We're getting closer to that deadline, so maybe it'll pick up here pretty soon. We
Week
shall
11
see.
is the deadline, right?
Week 11. Yeah, not for lack of trying. I know you got some stuff out there you've been working on.
I am
So
trying to deal and wheel, or wheel
all
and
right.
deal, or
Yeah.
coffin nail thing.
All right, let's go right into the scores here. First one up, we've got the Pooh Crew 154, Goofy Jay-Z 112. So they both shored up their positions in the top and bottom four, respectively. What do you think about this one, Sean?
So I think looking over on the Jay-Z side, uh, Jameson Williams having 0 points, but getting the looks. He had 6 looks,
Yeah,
no targets. Maybe they were bad looks. I don't know. I wasn't watching the game. I can't say one way or the other. But maybe they were forcing it into him and he just couldn't come down with a 50-50 ball or anything. But who knows? But getting a 0 from him hurt him. And then another guy that he may have been kind of banking on to overperform, maybe Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, with DK down, you would have thought he would have a big game, but GSN had his first big game. So
yeah. I had Lockett in another lineup, and it was pretty disappointing. And one of those division games, man. Sometimes those things are just funky. Usually Lockett has big days against Arizona, but they finally shut him down one week, and just happened to be the week that Goofy had him in there, unfortunately. I watched that Detroit Baltimore game, most of it. It got boring because Baltimore started waxing that ash, so I had to I had to kind of I it was so bad I started watching the Giants and the Redskins, if or not the Redskins. Jeez, it's been a long time since I've been the Redskins.
censored,
Yeah,
censored.
yeah. But yeah, that's how boring it was. That 14-7 game actually looked better than the Detroit Baltimore, which I thought was going to be a great game. So yeah, there were some targets that were not that great because Goff was under pressure a lot. So they kept him kind of off balance most of the game. So he garbage time with Amon Ra was what they got there. But they kept a lot of pressure on him. It wasn't good for Jameson. Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the scores that Goofy got, they weren't bad at all. Just one of those deals where um, you kind of get down in the flex and you see he's starting to run out of players. Interesting thing with Goofy is he started the right defense, but both of his defenses got the same amount of points. So this week it wouldn't have mattered. So that's kind of a running theme with him, and he got the right one in there. So
Darren Waller, 19.3 points out of the tight end, which is good. But over on the other side, the Pooh Crews, Kelsey got the the swizzle from Taylor the night before and dropped 30 points on him.
And I was telling you in chat, pre-show chat, you see Kelsey so wide open, you're like, why do these teams keep letting him get so open, man?
It's 'cause he can't
He's
catch, right. Oh
what's
wait,
that?
it's because he can't catch, right? Wait,
I
no,
mean,
that ain't it.
he's the number one option, and you're not accounting for him. He
Patrick
really,
Mahomes and Travis Kelce are what, the number 2 most tight end touchdowns in NFL history, behind
yeah.
Brady and Gronk.
I mean, you gotta man up on him and probably have somebody over the top too. He's just it. Me watching the game. I didn't watch that whole game. I did watch bits and pieces, but it seemed like every time I saw him get a catch, he was just finding a soft spot in their zone. So I don't think he plays zone against Kelsey, man. I think he can kill you, and wide freaking open. And the guys looking at each other like, I thought you were going to get him.
I thought he was in your zone. I thought he was in your zone.
Yeah, just
Well,
crazy,
looking a
man.
little more on the Poo Crew side here, he gets carried and has 3 really big games by his running backs. ETN had 21 points, JT had 19 and a half, and Saquon Bark at you, Arlie, had 17.3 points.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot of points from 3 guys. That's a great turnout for them.
Yeah, Barkley looked really good too. I think he's back healthy and looked good. And the Giants are all of a sudden playing better after sucking so bad. So could be a good one for Poo Crew moving forward. So yeah, good day by him. A few stinkers, but for the most part, everybody was really good. I know Herbert, didn't have a great game. Otherwise, he might have been closer to 200. So.
Yeah.
But Herbert was down a little bit, and that had Keenan Allen down a little bit. He missed him on a touchdown. Right there would have been a good 10 more points. So, but hey, you can't complain when you score, almost 154 points. So,
Yeah, no complaining when you're scoring that much.
no, that was the top one for the day. So, cover your ears for a minute, Sean. Congratulations to Ian on a big day there.
I feel like we're breaking the rules here.
Yeah. You had one rule, and I always break it somehow. All right. Well, we won't dwell on the Pooh Crew anymore. Let's go on to the next score, which is the DBs 142, Dr. Donkey and the Dumbass on 97. So the Tips kept their perfect season going, and at the
Wait,
halfway
wait,
point,
wait, wait. Perfect?
it's perfect, man. I
It's
mean,
really bad.
glass half empty, but yeah. They're halfway point of the season. They're looking like a lock for the Miyagi Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's when usually you need to score 8 wins to get into the playoffs. I think they'd have to win completely out and outscore people by at least 90 to
Yeah,
make it into the playoffs.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know the math because I haven't done it yet, but I don't know if they're mathematically out because it's still a little early in the season to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah,
But
right.
I mean,
Nah, I mean,
kind of hard. I mean, even if they had a great day to score over 140 points, that's a fantastic day with a really good lineup. I mean, it is what it is here. I think the
yeah.
good things is that some of their rookies are looking pretty damn good. Like Palmer, he got 15 and a half points. I don't know who the heck started Palmer from
Oh,
the Chargers and
yeah.
was, man, I really hope he gets 16 points this week. Like, no one really freaking believed that. But the cojones on this team are massive. Absolutely massive.
Yeah. Well, what I like on their side is seeing JSN and Rashi Rice both have good days, getting touchdowns. Rice is kind of sneaky good and on the rise, I think,
Yeah, definitely.
His his snaps are up, his route participation is up. So um, I told Landon recently here that I think they got a good one there. And of
Mid
course,
third
JSN.
round.
I'm
Mid third
sorry.
round is where they early third round is where they drafted him.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Everybody's been wanting to get that Kansas City receiver that finally has a rapport, the number two. Yeah, the number two behind Kelsey. Rashee Rice might be the guy finally. So yeah. And I tell you, I wasn't looking at him in any draft. It was sort of I think I had him like fourth round. I'm like, if he's there in the fourth round, just because he's with Kansas City, I'll take him. And hey, he's coming along, man. I think they're coaching him up pretty good because I don't think he was that good of a prospect. But man, he's on the rise for sure. So that's good news for them moving forward. And JSN having his first big day with Metcalf out. So better days ahead for him too. So
I do want to give some credit where credit is due. The DBs finally listened to me, and they shored up the flex. And now look at them. They can't lose. They shored up the flex, and they're winning every game. Well, besides one. But I mean, finally they listen to me, and look at them. They're already ready. I take full credit for all this. So
I'm sure when they listen to this that they'll agree with that and give you some props in the chat. I'm sure we'll see that tomorrow.
Completely logical.
Yeah, look forward to that. Yeah, big day for them. Not the top score, but not too far away from it. So yeah, big day for them. Somehow got McCaffrey in there. I don't know. I didn't look at what they were doing through the week. A lot of people were sweating it, but they were kind of nice to. I think by Saturday they were saying it looked pretty good for him. So it was probably a good bet. But man, you hate to have a guy in there on Monday night and not know if you got to pull him out, what the hell you do, right? So
I think with 1,044 points already this season, they can take a fucking chance on Monday night with the best running back in the league.
Yeah, probably so. And he didn't have a big night football wise. Like they pretty well kept him in check, but he had the two touchdowns. He had a one big passing play and then a goal line carry, and so 21 points. You're like, a little down day for McCaffrey, but still not bad, on a day where Minnesota didn't let him dominate the game, really.
He had less than 100 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
And he still scored 21 points.
Yeah, I don't know. He's looked fine. I don't think it's a lingering injury. I think I like Flores a lot. He's their defensive coach now, and I think he's got them overachieving. Just imagine what he can do if he gets some personnel in there. Some really good guys in there. They were talking about trade on Minnesota, yeah, and they were talking about Danielle Hunter, being a trade candidate. But hell, they may want to hold on to him and see if they can make a run. It's a weaker division.
As Justin Jefferson's owner in this league, I definitely would love for them to fucking make a run. I would love for them to go win the next 3 games and Justin Jefferson come back and be like, all right, I know we're having all this contract negotiation bullshit going on, but obviously I can come in and we can make a real run for this thing.
Yeah.
Start using Addison like they use Thielen, and let's go. Let's giddy up.
Yeah. I think he'll be back in. I think JJ will get back in there. The interesting thing for me, one last note on Dr. Donkey and the dumbass here. I dropped Minshew and they got him and started him. He had that big game. I picked up Minshew in 3 leagues just as well, hell, he's better than a lot of the other guys that are around. He's going to be a starting QB. And I ended up dropping him in 2 leagues, and both leagues he got picked up and started. So, and when I saw it ahead of time, I'm like, yeah, good luck with that, against Cleveland. You saw what they just did to San Francisco. Freaking Minshew went out there and did his thing, man. 3 fumbles, and he still had over 20 points, man.
Not here to rub it in, but in a league that both of us are in, you're kind of iffy on Minshew, and I was like,
yeah.
We'll be okay. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be okay.
We we're trying to make a trade to put another quarterback in there, any quarterback, Daniel Jones out and Dak on by. So I was like, damn, staring down Minshew. I'm trying to make a trade. Turned out it was okay. So
And I'm like, let's hold. Let's
yeah,
hold. We're okay. Let's
yeah,
hold. And then
yeah.
we make a
Phew.
trade.
Of course, they'll start him next week and he'll get 6 points, but got him on a good week.
Trade for Tua.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll move on to our next score. We have Tank Top Mike 109, A-Bomb 105. So Tank Top can't lose for winning. Put that old saying backwards. He can't lose for winning. And A-Bomb, he's got that boomer bust roster. It was looking kind of busty this week.
Well, I will say there was a couple matchups this week that were legit barn burners. Like this one was down to the end. Mine and F and G's went down to the end.
Yeah.
Like there was some really close matchups. And the thing is that both these matchups were like very interesting matchups, like for later on down the road type thing.
Yeah.
I think Mike isn't tanking. He's not actively trying to sell the farm to win, but he's selectively choosing people that he wants on his team. And I mean, obviously, credit goes to him with his ability to pick people, but you look at 109 and you see that he got the W, but it's carried by 4 people. Mahomes got 33 points. Pittman had 15. Kittle had 10. And then Pickens had 13. Everybody else scored less than 10 points. His defense scored negative points. I mean, like.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy. Yeah, Detroit they've been playing so well, man. That -2, that was that one hurt. I'm glad we didn't play him. we, we picked the right defense in another league anyway. But yeah, no, it's you're right there that few big days there that kind of carried the day for him. And another. I mean, he probably didn't have high expectations for DJ Moore with the undrafted rookie playing. He played all right, but I think he had like 168 yards passing, Badgett. So it wasn't much for anybody. I mean, 9 targets, not bad, but 54 yards. You can see that the air yards just weren't there. Badgett was just playing it safe and checking it down where he could,
Well, think of it this way too. Like, not every target is a good target. He caught 8 of 9 targets and still only got 54 yards.
Yeah.
I'm guessing some of those targets were just absolute trash targets where he could just catch it and get slammed to the ground type stuff.
Yeah, like I say, he's playing it safe, just trying to get it in the hands of your playmaker, but I'm sure the defense was keying on that. So, and I mean, they ended up winning pretty handily, and they didn't have to pass so much. So that was the other factor,
Kareem Hunt.
What? I don't think you're talking about the same game. Chicago played Chicago played Las Vegas. So yeah, take your lumps in chat. You'll have to take your lumps in chat for that one, but
I was just excited and I blew my load.
Like we just yelling out random players' names now.
That's what we do on this chat. You'll never know. You'll never know on this podcast what you'll get. A-Bomb. I ruined that one.
A-Bomb with a pretty quiet day for some of his guys. Mostert, didn't have one of the 3 touchdown games. He had one of the. He was contained pretty well. I'm sure most of us saw most of that game, if not all of it, and he couldn't quite get it going. So that's one who's been.
Talk about Mike being propped up by a couple people. I mean, A-Bomb was propped up by a couple people too. Like, if I told you that he had Josh Allen and Andrews and they scored 44.6 points together, like, you'd be like, well, shit, I bet they did pretty damn well. But like,
must have got it.
that was
Yeah.
literally almost half their fucking points that game.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the stack with Davis, and freaking Davis puts up 1.1 and 5 targets.
I do have to shout out my boy Mike Evans doing his job trying to get us the W over Atlanta, but we lost by 3 points. That fucking sucked. But
yeah,
Mike Evans had 17.2 points fantasy wise.
Yeah.
That's a great day.
Good day for him for sure. Pacheco with 14. Not a bad day there, but yeah, just everybody else was not good, man. Devontae Adams, man. I thought Hoyer was just gonna like feed him the ball. I mean, shouldn't that have been the game plan? Josh Jacobs running the ball and throw it to Devontae a whole bunch of times.
If
And
I was Hoyer, my whole goal would be to have every talking head on Monday morning say that Devontae Adams is slant boy, because all the fucking slants he ran, and I threw it to him. Like,
yeah.
17 targets, 16 catches for 60 yards. That was what was going to happen.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I think did I play I have Las Vegas defense in a couple of leagues. Looking forward to this matchup, and that didn't work out well either. So that one didn't go as planned for
Jerome Ford
sure.
had a day. He had
Yeah.
a day.
Wait a minute. Did you say Jerome Ford?
Yeah.
You're talking Cleveland again?
No. Motherfucker. Did I do that again? No fucking way did I do it twice.
Dude. You know, I take up for y'all that I
Well,
can,
sometimes
but
you can't fucking.
you're
You
on
can't
your
help
own. You keep going to Cleveland. Let's find out who had these plays. No, Jerome Ford, that was goofy. So we're
it. Yeah.
past that one, man.
Son of a bitch tits. All right.
Jerome Ford did have a day. Unfortunately, he got hurt,
All
and
right. So I was
he's
on
out.
IR. I came back. I'm on a pitch count. You can't expect my best outing right off the bat. All right. Come on.
Oh man.
I totally own
Obviously,
all that. I totally just fucked that up absolutely twice.
you're on your own to chat, man. I'm just gonna turn
Yep.
it off when they start
It
hitting you
is
on
what it
this one.
is at this point.
Oh man. Let's see in the next.
Moving on.
Moving on. Okay, we'll go to your matchup. I think there might be a Cleveland guy in there that you could talk about since you're really anxious to
Yay!
talk about him, man. Yeah. Moving on. We've got the Prince. Wow, I'm going to give you this one with the decimal points and everything because it was so close. We got the Prince 111.4. And we've got FNG at 109.5. It was a difference of 1.9 points. Really close one. You pulled that one off there, and FNG just continues to have a run of bad luck.
I I I was sweating this matchup before the starting gun. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm looking at starting Kareem Hunt for the first time, and I have Romeo Doubs. That's kind of a hit miss kind of guy this year in here. Like my Cincinnati dream
Yeah.
team is like
On a
off
buy.
by. I was like, Bijan could beat me all by himself.
Yeah.
Come to find out he was sick. He was sick or something to
Yeah.
that effect.
Had a headache, I guess is the official word right now. Looking forward to see what all comes out of that. But
Well,
I didn't
suck it the fuck up and take some damn Midol.
I didn't
That'll
hear
hold
much. I
something.
didn't hear much today on it. Of course, everybody was talking about it Monday, but I hadn't heard much today. I figured we might hear something from the league on, if they're going to do something to him or not on that situation. But didn't really hear anything today.
Well, I mean, I I took Monday off from the chat and I was just kind of chillaxing, and I come back Tuesday morning about this bullshit about Bijan being substituted, and I
Yeah,
immediately went to the commissioners,
yeah,
you included, obviously, and I said very nicely, is this being considered? Because I would have I'd have a point of view if this is being considered.
Yeah.
And has messed with me for about 2 seconds and said, "No, we're not considering this." I said,
I
"Thank God.
was,
That would have been a big fucking deal."
yeah, there was strong opinions on both sides. It reminded me a little bit of, yeah, I remember having T. Higgins in a redraft last year, and a couple of times where, okay, he's active, you got him in there, and then he plays one play and then he doesn't play anymore, I mean, it happened. There was one game where I think he actually did get hurt, but one where he had been hurt and it was off and on all week, and they're like, no, he's a full go, and then he played one play and didn't play anymore. I mean, it kind of reminded me of that. It sucks. You got to kind of blame the team for mismanaging it, but I just feel like these things happen, man, and it's kind of the same as it reminded me a lot of T. Higgins from last year, which I had heard a couple of times.
But
But
I had good days from Kamara and Love. Love had a okay day. He had like a quarterback two kind of day. And then
yeah.
Kareem Hunt, two, two tutties. I got it right that time. Two
You
tutties,
did.
15.1 points. Sutton had a big day too, 16.6 points. They really
Yeah,
carried me, especially
he's
with
been.
Cup having such a down day.
Yeah, no, Sutton's been sneaky good. He's had a few good days. Um, a few good games in a row here. Um, yeah, what was the other one you said was Cup? Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was just looking at that line. I mentioned earlier in the chat that he had two drops, which is really uncharacteristic for him. And the touchdown that Atwell got was was absolutely going to Cup. I think Atwell ran the wrong route and found himself in the same area.
Where does
And
that
he's
guy live?
yeah. What's that?
Where does that well live? I need to go
Oh
see
yeah.
him.
So he snatched one away that was definitely going to Cup. Um, so yeah, it's just a weird day for Cup, man. He'll come back strong. He won't have another day like that, I don't think so. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're kind of a weird day for him. 7 targets and only 2 receptions, pretty unheard of for him. So the 2 point conversion wasn't even able to save the day. He only had 5.9, so that was definitely a down day for him. But he'll have better days ahead. I mean, it didn't lose you in the matchup, but man, sure didn't help you any.
Well, F&G had some guys that did really well. James Cook had 17.7, and then obviously the guy he made the big blockbuster trade on draft day for AJ Brown had 24 points. So
Yeah, AJ
the
Brown's
guys
been on a
he went to
tear.
get are doing well.
Goddard's finally playing good again. They seems like they remembered they had him in there,
I
and
wish they would forget and start throwing to fucking Devontae Smith.
yeah, true, but he's put together 2 good games in a row. So, but yeah, like Goofy can't start the right defense. It doesn't seem like F&G can start the right quarterback. Seems like he's always got one going off on his bench, man. He starts either one of his go. He could have think about this, Sean. He could have started Desmond Ritter, and we would have been talking about you losing this game.
I
Desmond Ritter.
personally don't like to think like that.
Desmond Ritter. I don't know if you know, but Desmond Ritter's not really that good. But he could have legit started Desmond Ritter and beat you in this one. Poor
Well,
guy can't start the right quarterback to save his life.
I want to do a little foreshadowing. Me and FNG play again later down the road where it's going to be having big playoff implications. Let's hope there's not a payback game in FNG's freaking future towards me.
Yeah, I know.
Go.
I get him again too, and he definitely has he's got a good roster. And if it starts coming together, then he's going to make some noise. But poor guy, we'll get into the standings later, but man, he's had some rough luck here so far.
Definitely. All right.
All right, we'll go to our last score of the week. That is the Johnsons 121, Silly Dilly 78. So Dylan said he wanted to play the old man every week, and he finally got his wish.
That's what happened.
Got me on the wrong one though.
Sorry, I just scared the dog by slapping my hands together.
All right, we'll let you go clean up the piss stains while I go into the game here. Now, what do you think here, man?
I
For
mean,
me, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I personally have a strong feeling towards New England wide receivers, but they are a professional football team, so you would assume one of them is going to do well once in a while. And Dilly, being a New England fan, he probably has his thumb on the pulse a little better than most people. Man, Kenner Bourne, I would have never played him in my life, and
Yeah,
he got 13.3 points.
yeah,
Very good start, sir. Very
yeah,
good start.
yeah. Hey,
Oh,
born. He's had some. It's like you remember the first game of the season, he had like 9 targets. He scored 2 touchdowns,
yeah, yeah, huge game.
and then for like 3 games, they just ignored him basically. And then they started using him
Classic.
again, and he's been their best guy. I have him in a league where I don't have the depth, and I've had to put him in a couple of times, and especially this week with the buys. So I played him, but it didn't feel good. I'm like, gosh, I'm playing a dude from New England, man, you know. But yeah, he stuck by his man, and that was a good one for him. One of the few, unfortunately, for Dylan this week.
I feel bad for Dylan having to start 3 tight ends, but looking at the rest of his lineup, I feel like he probably made the best decisions. I mean, were you going to start Jake Bobo in Seattle?
It would have worked out well, right? But not a
It would
not
have
a
worked out well, but no one in their life would have done it.
no, 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 I sure wouldn't have.
His before this week, his best week was in week 3 against the Panthers. Oh, just so you know, the Panthers fucking blow monkey dick, and he had 7 points.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was another tough thing for him is Lamar had a really big day passing the ball, and Flowers only got him 9.5. 6 targets, 75 yards, but yeah, didn't get into the end zone on that big day when he was slinging it around. Pretty much an Andrews day. So Flowers didn't do a whole lot for him. But
Wait, Deontay Foreman of the Chicago Bears.
Dream
Yes.
Hunt. Jerome Ford. Woo.
Woo! 31.5 points. That's a big day. You did
And
not know that was going to happen when you put him in. You're like, man, I hope he gets
no,
a touchdown.
I picked him up on waivers last season, and he did a few of these, and then I debated on dropping him, and I was like, I may as well hang on. He's got a team, and may as well hang on. And man, glad I did for this week anyway. So that was, talk about a couple of people carrying you. Him and Addison definitely carried me to this one. So I think this was my best score. I didn't look back, but I think it was my highest score because man, I've been like lucky to get 100 points, and here I am at 121. So those
Two
guys
people got
definitely,
59 points for you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like half, almost half my point output there on a day where Tua and Jalen, I got that stack in my lineup, and they didn't quite get me 20 points. So
All right.
yeah, down day for
Let's go
IU.
to these standings.
No, 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 no. We don't do that right now.
Oh, wait.
That's why this dude.
I was on
Can
the
you
IR. You can't expect me to come back and be 100%.
in my best Chandler, can you be any more premature? Yeah, this is about that time where we talk about the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week,
I'm sorry,
which
Dilly. I tried.
goes to our buddy Silly Dylan.
I
So
tried, Dilly.
put a little call into Dylan today, and you know, I always try to get some words for the Miyagi Award. We know these guys are
What did my old mate have to say today?
well. So he just kind of started talking. He was like, "Man, if only I still had Pollard and ETN
Oh, they're good.
and Devonta Smith
I like him.
and Joe Burrow
I like him too.
and Chris Godwin
I'm pro Chris Godwin. Yeah.
and Amari Cooper." So you know, kind of at this point, I was like, "Okay, I get the idea. I get the idea, Dylan. We'll go with that." And he's like, and Tyler Lockett. I was like, okay, yeah, I get the idea. I get the idea, man. Thanks for the words. And he said, and Josh Jacobs. So I was like, all right, I'm out, Dylan.
Has somebody talked to Silly Dilly in the last 24 hours to make sure he's okay?
Yeah. So I guess it was about what could have been in the lineup. So I left it at that. You know, he might still be talking. I don't know. He's had a lot of good ones come and go.
You just did one of these, like.
Yeah.
Just quietly hang up the phone, hope he doesn't notice that you hung up on him.
Yeah. That's basically what happened. So, all right, we will move on to the standings. Dream Hunt and
Dream Hunt. All right, I got the standings for us this week. There, Primo. There is no change at 1 and 2. We got the DBs and the Poo Crew at 6 and 1, 1 and 2 respectively. The Prince moves up one spot from 4 and gets into the 3rd spot. I am going to have a point issue if it comes down to points. I am not meant for this part of the league. Speaking of not meant for this part of the league, Mark moves up one spot with way less points from me. He's in 4th spot. Abe does the bomber and drops 2 spots down to 5. If he gets back up into the top 4, he will be up there because he does have the points.
I did the math, and he is 176 better than you right now. If that's kind of depressing, this might make you feel a little bit better. He is 284 points better than me right now. So it's all about the record for us right now.
Yeah, baby.
Unless A-Bomb keeps on bombing it. So.
And just so if you are just coming into the show at this point right now, the DBs have over 1,000 points. You're welcome, Evan. Tank Top Mike, he stays there at number 6 at 4 and 3. Just the odd man out at the Who Cares ball. He has 745 points, so he is right there in the running for the 3rd and 4th in points and in record. Don't tell him.
Yeah, how do you like this? He's a game out of the playoffs, and he is 2 games out of the bottom 4. So I told you, he is the worst tanker ever.
Hey, if somebody's got something to say about him tanking on purpose, look at the fucking record.
Dude,
all right,
dude, he's just a winner.
Moving on. We get a big drop off from 6 till 7 to FNG gets 2 and 5. 2 and 5 after the loss against the Prince. That is at 7. Dilly is 2 and 5 also at number 8 with almost exactly 100 points behind FNG.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. FNG has the most points against. Yeah, go look at that. That'll make you happy.
Not he does not. He's up there, but Goofy's got the most points against right now.
I apologize, Goofy.
Yeah, no problem. Kareem Hunt and
Kareem Hunt. All right, moving down to number 9 and number 10, respectively, Goofy Jay-Z. The Black Album is 1 and 6. The Humpty Donkey Doofus. I just took both their names and added it together, made one massive name. They are 0 and 7. They are perfection incarnate. Let's go.
Yeah, interesting thing. Going back to FNG and Mike, they're 6 and 7. is that FNG does have a few points on Mike. So, but Mike's got 2 games on him now. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see where that all shakes out. We know how it goes with that. Really, kind of usually what it's like 4 through 7. They can end up anywhere, by the time it's all said and done. So,
As somebody that has been in that area for the last 3 years, let me
yeah,
tell you how it is. It doesn't
yeah,
matter what your record is. It all matters about your points.
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
could have the same record as the guy going into the playoffs, and you'd be in the bottom 4 because you don't have the points.
yeah.
That's how it is.
That's always a fun area. It's like the top 3 and bottom 3 are usually pretty set, but then that 4 through 7, you never know.
You have no
So
idea.
it's looking interesting already, halfway through the season here.
All right, that's your standings from week 7 going into week 8.
Yeah, let's go with the matchups. Before we do, Jerome Ford had a really good game. I don't know if you saw that,
Which
but
team does he play for?
all right.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. All right. Kareem Hunt is all about the Marky Mark matchup of the week. So let's go on to that. We've got the Johnsons versus the DBs. Now, you may say, now, why would
Thank
you pick
God.
that? What's that?
I said, thank God.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not the marquee matchup.
You might say, why would you pick that one as the Marky Mark matchup? Well, it's weird to say, but if I beat the DBs, we'll have the same record. Although they, yeah, I know. Think about that. We'll have the same record, although they do have a slight point advantage on me.
Like, what?
So,
700 more points than you?
yeah, they haven't quite doubled me up, but it's getting close. So, go ahead and start us off on that while I find week 8 and I
Well, I
start
find it
clicking.
very, very hilarious that you are only 1 win and 1 loss away from having the same record as the team that has scored 1,100 points this year.
Yeah.
But let's jump into it, shall we?
Is it 11? Is it 11? I thought let me see. What is it? What did it have?
Oh, yeah.
1044.
No, they don't have 1,100.
Yeah, 10,
Add
almost
this to my
1050.
mulligan. It's 1044.
And
I
1044. Yeah, yeah. So, you think I got any kind of chance? I mean, yeah, there's always a chance, right? I mean,
This is fantasy football. Everybody's
there
got
are
a chance.
there are perfect storms that happen, but definitely the projections don't look too good right now. Looks about
They're
like our
only
points
projected to beat you by 30, 40 points.
35.
35
No,
points.
35 points. 35 points. Yeah, yeah.
That's okay. I mean, they have Derrick Henry in there. That's interesting that they're starting Derrick Henry
And that's against Atlanta,
against
who's been
Atlanta.
pretty good. They've been pretty good. They've got a few matchups that are definitely not easy ones, but but you play your studs and their studs are in there. That even the Miami New England, you kind of have to wonder after what New England did to Buffalo, do they have another one of those in them? Miami definitely needs to come back after that loss against Philly. So that's
Mhm.
an interesting one though. Definitely an
I think
interesting
this
one
might
there.
be a good get right game for Eckler against Chicago too. So I think that's going to
Could
be a
be.
good game for them on that part.
Could
We'll
be.
see.
You have to wonder with Eckler about that ankle a little bit. He didn't look 100% to me, but we'll see. We'll see how he looks this week.
Now, is that in? That's in Chicago, in LA, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be a pretty fair weather in the dome and everything, so that'll be okay. I was thinking if it was in Chicago, that field could get some rain this time of year, get some wind, and be a nasty run game, and he might not be the best person there with his ankle, but if it's in LA, I think that'll be more beneficial to him.
Yeah. I've got my lineup pretty well set, but I don't know. There could be some changes for sure.
You have a
Um,
couple green matchups here with Hall and Boyd and Hurst. Everything
yeah.
else is red or orange, so we'll see
Yeah,
what.
and you in the green matchups with Boyd and Hurst, those aren't people you want in a matchup against someone the team that's got 1,044 points, right?
Yeah,
So That's why I say I don't know if I got my final lineup in there, but that's kind of a rough draft, as you will, as it were, you know. Got a rough draft in there, so
I mean, Boyd is good for one game a year at least
I mean,
of like 25 points.
he has 2 or 3 games a year, but it has to be a good. He has to have a kind of a mismatch in the slot. You know, he's got to be against a slot corner that's given up a lot. If T. Higgins is out again, then definitely he moves up the pecking order. You know, but yeah, he can also go out there and have 3 targets. You know, one catch on 3 targets. You know,
For
and
20 yards. Yeah.
yeah, really ruin your day. So. And now, you know, Marquise Brown, he's had a lot of targets, but his last few games haven't been too good, and they're going against Baltimore, so that's not a great matchup there. So yeah, that's definitely going to have to set my best lineup. I'm going to have to the efficiency metrics are going to have to be in the you know
100.
95%. Yeah, it's going to have to be up there.
100%.
Yeah, and
And
hope.
DBs are going to need to be right around that 32%.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's hope
Well,
everybody on their bench goes completely haywire and goes off, and everybody like starting just takes a big giant dump.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely definitely big one, big game for me. Yeah, because we already talked about with my points, I've got to stay up in the playoffs. I got to stay up in the top four, or I don't really have a prayer unless I really start scoring some points. So we'll see what happens in this one. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. That is the Prince versus A-Bomb. This is a big one for playoff implications here. You know, it's the whoever wins probably stays in the top four, or you know, is in the top four. I think, you know, if you think about it, Sean, if you lose, you might drop out. He's got to win to stay up in there. If you get this one, then now is he 2 games out of the playoffs? That's a big one. This do we get boom A bomb or do we get bust A bomb? You
I'm
know,
hoping
a
bust.
lot of questions going into this one. This is a big one. This is, you know, week 8 here, just over the halfway point. This is a big matchup.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think this is gonna be a freaking. I feel like I jumped out of the pan and landed in the fire from last week and this week. Last week I was worried about it as soon as it flipped over to week 7. This week is no better. Week 8 is a must win for me. Uh, and I'm down my best guy in JJ, but hopefully the rest of my team can carry myself, get me through this one. I'm gonna need some better showings from Devontae Smith, and Olave has that thing with the "Do you know who I am? I play on the Saints." Yeah, that thing, and we'll see what that happens. I feel like that's probably gonna turn into just a giant fine, maybe. I don't really think he'll get suspended for that. Because I mean, yes, he talked like an idiot, but he didn't act like an idiot. He took his lumps and did what he needed to when he needed to, and but we'll see what happens right there. I'm glad that Mark Andrews had a big week last week in week 7 because hopefully he doesn't have a giant week in freaking this week. And this week, I always root for my boys, Tampa Bay, but this week I'm going to be rooting for them big time because they're playing Buffalo. And I don't know if you know this, but the 49ers fan is really into Buffalo players.
Yeah, that one's in Buffalo. So and Buffalo hasn't been looking good, man. They need to. This is a time for them to dig down deep and get things right. So yeah, so that's a big game. That's a big game, NFL wise, and for your matchup for sure. I wish I knew. I think Devonta Smith is mostly an outside receiver. I don't have numbers in front of me. I'm not going to look it up. I do know that Washington is giving up a lot of yards to outside receivers, and I think that's predominantly where Smith plays.
That is true,
Um,
but also AJ Brown's plays on the outside too. So
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I guess the point there is that there's plenty to go around.
yeah.
That's a game where both those guys could go off. So yeah, it's a little disappointing not seeing him as involved, but Brown has just been on a tear, and gosh, I mean, I Hertz hasn't been quite as good. I don't blame him for looking for Brown a little bit more, maybe, and
Hmm.
maybe that he doesn't have as much. It's he seems to be under duress a little bit more this year in the games I've seen him, and so I can see why he's going for Brown over maybe second read to Smith or trying to get the ball into him, being a smaller guy where Brown is a better contested catch guy.
Hmm.
So I think that's what's going on a lot with them right now.
I'm happy to
Over,
get Chase and Mixon back this
yeah,
week. Hopefully
that's
Mixon can do well against San Francisco, but that's a giant yeah, fucking right. But we'll see.
yeah, no, that's big ones for you. He's basically got the same lineup in there from what I can see. Ridley, of course, has been disappointing. Um, he had that big game in week one, and he hasn't done a whole lot since then. So it'd be good to see them get him a little bit more involved. But Kirk, even with Jones out, you know, Zay Jones is out, and you think, okay, Ridley's definitely going to have a big game, but almost seems like it's with Jones out, it was first
Yeah,
read is Kirk, and then Evan Ingram was like second read, and Ridley's a distant third right now. So
I don't know, man. I don't know.
he's got Jacobs going up against Detroit, and Detroit had been like shutting down running backs big time, but Gus Bus went off. Of course, it was one of those things where they got behind so much where it just wasn't a normal game. So you got to wonder if Detroit comes back. And I guess the good thing for you here is that Las Vegas is it in Detroit, and they sure didn't do well in Chicago, and now they're in Detroit. West coming east, as I talk about a lot. Jacobs might not
States
be a great
never
matchup.
says that it is a stadium, so
Yeah,
it's not outside in the weather.
not true, but still 2 games in a row on the East Coast for his Raiders. So he's got Devontae Adams in there too. So that's a big matchup. That's a big matchup right there. So yeah, I think you got a good chance in this one. You never know. Like I say, he's got those. He's got that boomer bust lineup, and if it booms, then it booms big. So we'll see what happens. I like your chances this week, though. That's a big one, man. That's a big one.
Hmm.
That one, I'm probably most interested in that as from a personal standpoint, and then from a league standpoint, I'm probably most interested in that one right there. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We've got Tank Top Mike going up against FNG. Look at the projection right now on this one. 113.46 for Tank Top, 113.51 for FNG. That's .05 difference, man. That's pretty cool.
That's
I
a
don't know
tough
if the
pair, close.
yeah, if those lineups stay the same, that they're calling that one to be real close. Almost seems like FNG would have to run the table at this point to make the playoffs. Mike kind of needs this loss to stay alive in the bottom four. What do you think, man?
I think that's right. I think that uh Mike needs to lose to stay in the bottom four, and FNG needs to go on an absolute tear to get back up into the friggin'
Even
top
in
four. I mean, like,
yeah, it's
it
a
is what it is. I mean, like, as you
he
said in the opening, that freaking these projections are locked, stocked, and ready to rock next to each other. It's like this is this is what we are made for. This is our league. This is what we want to see.
yeah.
Like
Mike's
crazy.
got Mike's got Mahomes going up against Denver, so those are the ones where you look at it on paper and you're like, oh yeah, man, he could hang 30 on those guys easy. But
He did.
sometimes if Denver doesn't stay in the game, then maybe they take their foot off the gas, you know. Denver has been playing a little bit better than they were earlier in the season. But you know, you look at that one, your eyes get big, like, oh my gosh, look at Mahomes against Denver. So if that one goes the way you might think it would, then that's going to be that's going to be a lot of points for Mike right there, right off the rip, as they say.
Damian Pierce going against Carolina, and I don't know if you've heard, but they fucking suck monkey dick. And
Yeah,
then Kittle going against Cincinnati, green. Jawan Dotson, he hasn't had a very good year, but he's going against Philadelphia, who is also green. Pickens, he just came off a pretty good day last
yeah,
week, and he's going against Jacksonville, who is also green. I
yeah.
mean, these are good matchups.
Yeah, he does have a lot of green there. I think, I don't know, Kittle against Cincinnati, I feel like he's going to be a blocker more in that game. Um, Off the top of my head, without looking into it too much, I feel like that's going to be a blocking day for Kittle. But you know, he does have a lot of nice green matchups there. Even you know, DJ Moore against the Chargers. The Chargers are giving up a lot to receivers, but you know, I don't think Fields is going to be back in there, so we'll have to see if Badgett can still you know, he had a decent game and see if he can keep that going against the Chargers, who really need a win right now, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I think, shoot, everybody could be gone from the Chargers. GMs, coaches, all of them, man. Just like reset, man. They might be going in a rebuild. They might
Well,
be playing.
because their quarterback is damn good.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. The talent they have there, but they have not been able to put it all together at the same time.
Maybe they
So,
should start throwing the ball to QJ. Just saying.
yeah, they did a little bit more last week, but I feel like he's still kind of a project, and they you know, they didn't count on Mike Williams getting hurt, and Joshua Palmer's always just been, you know, he's always their number three and doesn't do much unless one or two is out, you know,
Mhm.
and QJ with that first round pedigree and still can't do anything over Palmer. It kind of shows you he's still a project pretty much. So.
Well, do they play the same position? I mean, yes, they both wide receivers, but is one a slot and one a boundary? Like, is that the difference? Like,
No, I think both those guys predominantly play outside, but I think Keenan's the one that moves around more and lines up inside and outside. But I
mhm,
think both of them play a little more outside. I don't know. Those are things I'm a little behind on trying to see who plays where, you know.
mhm.
I just haven't had the time as much this year to look at that stuff, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll go on here and we'll talk about, hey, there's a guy from Cleveland in the lineup, Mari Cooper on FNG's lineup. Do you want to talk about him? You've been excited about the Cleveland guys.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. You know, you look up and down FNG's lineup and you're like, yeah, man, he's got some good guys here. It just not has not come together for him. So he's right now he's got, and I think FNG a lot of times is a little late setting his lineup. He's still got Goff in there against Las Vegas. That's probably not a bad play this week because they're at home and Las Vegas kind of sucks and they Detroit's gonna come out there. They can't be feeling good about that loss to Baltimore, so they're going to come out there and play. So that's probably his best bet this week is to go ahead and leave Goff in there. Double
Are
down.
Stafford versus Dallas?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I
Dallas
mean,
is on the downslide.
yeah, they're at Dallas, and I think that's going to be too much pressure on Stafford. Fields is out, and Ritter. You never want to play Ritter unless you have to. Even in a two quarterback league, I'm like, oh, can I pick somebody else up off waivers or do I have to really play Ritter here? So they're playing Tennessee though. So no, I think Goff is the right call there. So yeah, this one's gonna be fun, man. Yeah, this one is another one for the standings.
The
Who's
cookie
moving up?
will crumble.
Yeah, if FNG can win it, then he's already got a little bit of a point advantage. So if he wins it, he's got more points, but then he's still a game behind. So that's what's really cool and interesting about that one. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We've got Silly Dilly versus the Pooh Crew. See, this is the one every year where the besties they root for each other because they can't bear to see the other one sad. So the besties are
You know
going to
what
be
that
rooting for
is?
each other.
You know what that is?
What
All
is
right.
that?
If you got children, you might want to put them outside the room right now. That's like a penis and a penis touching each other. One's not like circumcised and they dock. That's
Oh,
what this matchup is. That's what this matchup is. I'm just saying.
oh, wow, that's graphic.
I'm just explaining
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Well, as you can imagine, Pooh Crew is favored in this one.
Let's
I
go
I
Dilly.
don't know, huh?
Let's go Dilly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we're all pulling for Dylan, but man, he's got in his top two running back spots. These are guys that are flex guys, but these are his running backs 1 and 2, Jaleel McLaughlin and Jalen Warren. They're splitting time with guys. They're both good players, but they're not your 1 and 2 running backs. They're flex guys at best. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the big. And you look on the other side, you got ATN and Jonathan Taylor.
They're both
Um,
pretty good.
what could have been, right? ATN could have been on the other side of this matchup, but no, he is on this side. He's on the Poo Crew side. And then Kelsey, of course, tearing it up and now going against Denver. And man, can't count on them doing any better. I'm just so tired of. I mean, I like Kelsey, but me as a football guy watching him get so wide open, and what is he, 34 or something like that, and he's getting so wide open, and you're like, dude, do you not know that this is a guy you got to cover? You cover this guy, and you make guys like MVS and Sky Moore beat you. Uh, you you don't let Kelsey find the soft spot in the zone every time. So
Well,
I don't
you
know.
football people should understand that age is but a number.
Oh, true. Very true. Very true. Oh, I will say Laporta, man, he's been good for Dylan. I hope he holds on to him and starts building around him. Kind of funny to think about building around a tight end, but Laporta could be the best player he's got. Although I will say Myers he's killing it this year. I like Flowers a lot. Dylan's got some good pieces, man. He's just got to start trying to build around some of these guys and hold on to them and quit
Well,
trying to do
we'll
this
say that
redraft stuff.
I will say that Dilly has had a few like back-to-back drafts that I'm like, hell yeah, Dilly, I can see what you're doing here. Like you are drafting some great guys here. I
Yeah.
mean, shit, I've traded for a couple of his draft picks.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. All right,
Yeah.
let's go on to the next one there, Primo.
All righty. Yeah. Not much to talk about there, unfortunately. I'm a big Silly Dilly fan this week, though.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go to our last matchup. This one, unfortunately, is not real exciting. We got the bottom two teams playing each other in Dr. Donkey and the Dumbass versus Goofy Jay-Z. Tips are trying to keep that streak going, though. And on a week where maybe Goofy can get a break on the most points against, maybe it'll ease up a little bit for him this week. Uh, what do you think here, man? We got 1-5 or 1-6 going against 0-7. Wow.
Well, if the wet blanket that is known as KJ Osborne actually plays like he's supposed to play when JJ is out and he is the number 2 wide receiver, maybe he can see some upside there. But there are some good matchups here in the flex for the Dr. Donkey dumbass. Freaking Shaheed Palmer, he had a good week last week. He's projected 9 points. And Rice had a good week last week, and he's playing Denver. That should be wheels up on Rice.
Yeah,
Wheels on Rice.
like all those guys. Palmer with the matchup against Chicago. I'm starting to wonder if you look at the last few weeks for Chicago, they've been one of the top scoring defenses. And it's weird to see, but I'm just wondering, are they good on defense? Are they actually good on defense? Because they've been doing pretty well there. But yeah, Palmer against Chicago is a good matchup. Shaheed against Indy is a good matchup. I like all those guys. Nico's had a good year, and they switched up and went to Hubbard and Charbonnet, so they got two different running backs in there. So CJ Stroud coming off a bye, they might get their first win this week. But I mean, Goofy's better than 1-6. We know for sure, and it's another matter of him, most points against, and just the fact that it hasn't his roster just hasn't had great weeks. They just haven't come together. It's like
Mhm.
guys going off, you know, one week and not the
He-
next week, and it just can't put them all together.
I mean, he has 4 guys on his IR right now. Mike
Oh yeah,
Williams, Russell Gage, Dobbins,
yeah,
Fryermuth. I mean, like,
yeah.
those are big
And
names. Big names.
three of those, you kind of throw out Gage. He's had games here and there, but not
Yeah.
expecting a lot out of Gage. But the other three, man, could be doing well if he had them to choose from. But yeah, and that's why he's got a guy like Latavius Murray as his running back one this week. Um, so
Going
he's
against
definitely
a great run defense in Tampa Bay. Just so.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, if it comes together for Goofy, he should be able to get this one. But yeah, I've said that the Tips weren't going to go winless this year. They're trying really hard to prove me wrong. I said that same thing last week, and they just keep on trying to prove me wrong. They want to go winless for some reason, I guess. But they got some good guys in there. They got some good young pieces. So if they can do a little bit in the draft, they could be in a lot different place next year. But this year they're pretty much destined for that bottom four, it looks like. Here's the big thing, though. Here's the big thing before we wrap this up and get out of here. Let's see what we think here. Goofy has Kansas City in his as a starting
Ooh, this is
defense
a big,
going up
big one. Let's go.
going up against Denver. That seems like the right play. He's got he's sitting Philly going up against Washington. You know, I don't want to say too much because if he makes a change and it doesn't work out for him, he's going to be really ticked off. But Sam Howell's taken the most sacks in the league by far, you know, and you only get 1 point for sacks, but sometimes a strip sack is three. A strip sack for a touchdown is nine. Philly could put him up in chunks against Howell.
Yeah, but Jay-Z Goofy is a Eagles fan. You would think he would play the Eagles if his gut was saying I should play the Eagles. But that is one of those weird divisional games where it could get stupid. It
Yeah.
could get stupid.
Well, that's
Go
that's
with
the
your
other
gut, Goofy Jace. Go with
that's the
your
other
gut.
side of it. That's not hey, they're both good matchups, so you would think he couldn't go wrong. But we're talking
It's
about
Denver.
we're talking about Goofy and we're talking about setting the right defense.
Defense.
So, you know,
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. Not much more to say about that, man. So I think I'll let you wrap it up here.
thank you, sir. That was week 7. I don't know if you know this, but week 8, we got some big matchups that could mean big things going down the stretch. We are just about halfway over in the season, and we are getting huge numbers from some and very little ones from others. All right, come back next week and find out who got the little tiny penises. Ian, you suck.